It started as an ordinary weekend. My aunt had gone out of town to visit her sister, leaving me in the care of my uncle, a man I had trusted my entire life. I had no reason to suspect that this weekend would change everything, that it would shatter the very foundation of trust I had in my family. The house was eerily quiet that first evening. My uncle, usually a lively and cheerful man, seemed different. His eyes carried something I couldn't quite place, something unsettling, but I brushed it off, thinking maybe he was just tired or stressed. The night dragged on, and as I lay in my room scrolling through my phone, I heard footsteps outside my door. Slow, deliberate, my heart skipped a beat. Maybe he was just heading to the kitchen or checking the locks, I told myself, but then the footsteps stopped right outside my door. I held my breath, waiting. The door didn't open, but I could hear his breathing, heavy, uneven. It sent a chill down my spine. I called out, "Uncle? Uncle? Everything okay?" A few seconds of silence, then a chuckle. Low, almost amused. "Yeah, just checking if you needed anything," he finally said. I forced a smile even though he couldn't see me. "No, I'm good, thanks." The footsteps retreated and I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Maybe I was overthinking things. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right. That first night wasn't the only strange moment. Over the next day, I noticed things I had never paid attention to before. The way his eyes lingered too long, how he seemed overly interested in what I was doing, how he always found a reason to be near me. At first, I tried to shake it off. Maybe I was just imagining things. Maybe I was being dramatic. But then small incidents piled up. The first red flag came during breakfast. I sat at the dining table, eating quietly, when I felt his eyes on me. When I looked up, he was already staring, his expression unreadable. "You've really grown up," he said, his voice casual but his eyes saying something else. I forced a smile, unsure how to respond. "Yeah, I guess." He smirked. "Your aunt says you've got boys chasing after you. Anyone special yet?" I laughed awkwardly, shaking my head. "Not really." "Good," he said, taking a sip of his coffee. "Some boys don't deserve girls like you." The way he said it sent a shiver down my spine. It wasn't what he said. It was how he said it. It was how he said it. Later that day, while I was watching TV in the living room, he came and sat beside me. Normally, that wouldn't have felt strange, but this time, he sat too close. I shifted slightly, making space between us, but he leaned in. "What are we watching?" he asked, his voice almost too soft. I swallowed hard. "Just some crime series." He chuckled. "You like crime stories, huh? You know, sometimes real life is scarier than fiction." I forced a small laugh, suddenly feeling the need to get up and leave the room. I told myself I was overreacting, but by nightfall, I couldn't deny it anymore. That night, I stayed up later than usual. I didn't want to go to bed. I didn't want to be alone in my room, but exhaustion got the better of me. At some point, I fell asleep on the couch, the TV still playing softly in the background. A shift in the air woke me up, that eerie feeling of being watched. My eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the dim light. My uncle was sitting beside me, too close. His hand resting behind my head on the couch, his fingers barely brushing my shoulder. "You were sleeping so peacefully," he murmured. "I didn't want to wake you." I sat up quickly, putting space between us. "It's late. I should go to bed." As I tried to stand, he reached out, grabbing my wrist. His grip was gentle, but firm enough to stop me. "Relax," he said, his voice almost soothing. "We never get time like this, just the two of us." My stomach twisted. I yanked my hand away. "I'm tired. Good night." I rushed to my room, locking the door behind me. My hands were shaking. My breath was shallow. I wasn't overreacting. I wasn't imagining things. This was real. I barely slept that night. Every little sound made me jump. I checked the lock on my door at least 10 times. Then at 3 a.m., I heard it. A soft click. The door handle turning. My blood ran cold. The door was locked. I had made sure of it, but he was testing it. Slowly, gently, I held my breath, gripping my phone in my hand. I wanted to scream, to call someone, but fear paralyzed me. The handle stopped moving. Silence. Then footsteps. Walking away. I didn't sleep after that. I just lay there, my body stiff with fear, waiting for the sun to rise. By morning, I had made my decision. I texted my aunt. My fingers trembled as I typed. "Hey, I don't feel too well. Can I leave early?" She called me immediately, worried. I didn't tell her what happened. I couldn't. Not yet. I just told her I felt uneasy and wanted to go home. She arranged for a family friend to pick me up. When I came downstairs with my bag packed, my uncle was waiting. His face was unreadable. "You sure you want to leave so soon?" he asked, his voice calm. Too calm, I forced a smile. "Yeah, something came up." He nodded but didn't say anything else. Just watched as I walked out the door. The moment I stepped outside, I felt like I could finally breathe, but I knew nothing would ever be the same again. That weekend changed everything. I never told my aunt the full truth. I didn't know how to. I was scared. Scared she wouldn't believe me. Scared it would tear the family apart. But I never went back to that house. Never again. Some betrayals don't come from strangers. Sometimes they come from the people we trust the most. And the scariest part, they don't always leave proof. Sometimes all you have is a feeling, an instinct screaming at you that something isn't right. And sometimes that's all you need to know it's time to walk away.